That's right, Edith.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you'd better fetch the ice bucket.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you manage to get the ice out of those little tin trays?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I had a bit of a struggle, though, but it's all right.
And you managed to fill the trays up again with water?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good, Edith. You're making giant strides. Master Arcati, Mrs. Bradman, and I will have our coffee in here after dinner. Dr. Bradman and Mr. Condamine will have theirs in the dining room. Is that quite clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you're serving dinner, Edith, try to remember to do it calmly and methodically.
Yes, ma'am.
As you're not in the Navy, it is unnecessary to do everything at the double.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, go and get the ice.
Yes, ma'am.
Not at a run, Edith.
Yes, ma'am.
No sign of the advancing horse?
No, not yet.
No ice?
It's coming. I've been trying to discourage Edith from being quite so fleet of foot. You mustn't mind if everything is a bit slow motion tonight.
Oh, I shall welcome it. The last 2 weeks have been extremely agitating. Edward, what do you suppose induced Agnes to go off and leave us and get married?
Well, the reason was becoming increasingly obvious, dear.
Well, yes, but nobody cares about that sort of thing nowadays. She could have popped in the coach hospital, had it, and popped out again.
Her social life would have been seriously undermined.
We must keep Edith in the house more. Dry martini, I think, don't you?
Yes, darling. I suppose Master Arcati will want something sweeter. Ah, that's right, Edith. Put it on the table.
Edith, I forgot my cigarette case on the dressing table. Would you get it for me, please?
Yes, sir.
There now.
You took her by surprise.
We'll have this one for ourselves anyhow.
Oh, dear.
What's the matter?
I have a feeling this evening's going to be awful.
It'll probably be funny, but not awful.
You must promise not to catch my eye. If I giggle, and I'm very likely to, it will ruin everything.
You mustn't. You must be completely serious and if possible a little intense. We can't put the old boy off, no matter how funny he is.
But why the Bradmans, darling? They're skeptical as we are. They'll probably say the most dreadful things.
Oh, I warned him, but it had to be more than 3 people. We couldn't invite the vicar and his wife because A, they're dreary, and B, they'd probably want to prove the whole thing. It had to be the Bradmans. Thank you, Edith.
Yes, sir.
Steady now.
Yes, sir.
Lovely, dry as a bone.
To the Unseen.
I must say, that's a wonderful title.
Well, this night's a success. I shall begin writing first thing in the morning.
How extraordinary it is.
What?
I don't know, being right at the beginning of something, it gives one an odd feeling.
Do you remember when I got the idea for when the lights go out?
Suddenly seeing that haggard, raddled woman at the hotel in Biarritz. Of course I remember. We sat up half the night talking about it.
She certainly came in very handy. I wonder who she was.
And if she ever knew. I mean, ever recognized that description of herself. Poor thing. Here's to her, anyhow.
Have another?
Oh, darling, it's most awfully strong.
Yeah, have a mind.
Used Elvira to be a help to you? When you were thinking something out, I mean?
Every so often when she concentrated, but she didn't concentrate very often.
I do wish I'd known her.
What if you'd have liked her?
Oh, I'm sure I should. As you talk of her, she sounds enchanting. Yes, I'm sure I should have liked her because, you know, I've never for an instant felt the least bit jealous of her. That's a good sign.
Poor Elvira.
Does it still hurt to think of her?
No, not really. I feel rather guilty. I almost wish it would.
I wonder if I died before you'd grown tired of me, if you'd forget me so soon.
What a horrible thing to say.
No, I think it's interesting.
Well, to begin with, I haven't forgotten Elvira. I remember her very distinctly indeed. I remember how fascinating she was and how maddening. I remember how badly she played all games and how cross when she got when she lost. I remember her gay charm when she had achieved her own way over someone and extreme acidity when she didn't. I remember her physical attractiveness, which was tremendous, and her spiritual integrity, which was nil.
You can't remember something that was nil.
Well, I remember how morally untidy she was.
Was she more physically attractive than I am?
That is a tiresome question, dear, and fully deserves the wrong answer.
You really are very sweet.
Well, thank you.
And a bit naive, too.
What do you mean?
Well, you imagine I mind about you finding Elvira more physically attractive than I am.
I should think that any woman would mind it if it were true. But perhaps I'm a bit old-fashioned in my view of female psychology.
Not exactly old-fashioned, darling, just a bit didactic.
What do you mean?
It's didactic to attribute to one type the defects of another type. For instance, because you know perfectly well Elvira would mind terribly if you found another woman more attractive physically than she was, it doesn't necessarily follow that I should. It's all a question of degree.
I love you, my love.
I know you do. But not the wildest stretch of imagination could define it as the first fine, careless rapture.
Would you like it to be?
Oh, good God, no.
Well, that's shade too vehement.
We're neither of us adolescents, Charles. We've neither of us led exactly prim lives, have we? And we've both been married before. Careless rapture at this stage would be embarrassing.
I hope I haven't been in any way a disappointment, dear.
Don't be idiotic.
I mean, your first husband was much older. I'd hate to think you missed out all along the line.
There are moments, Charles, when you go too far.
Sorry, darling.
As far as waspish female psychology goes, there's a rather strong vein of it in you.
I've heard the same thing said of Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar is neither here nor there.
He may be, for all we know. We shall ask Master Arcati when he comes.
You're awfully irritating when you're determined to be witty at all costs. Almost supercilious.
That's exactly what Elvira used to say.
Oh, I'm not at all surprised. I never imagined, physically triumphant as she was, that she was entirely lacking in perception.
Darling Ruth.
There you go again.
As I think I mentioned before, I love you, my love.
Poor Elvira.
That remark is getting monotonous.
Poor Charles, then.
That's better.
And later on, poor Ruth, I expect.
You have no faith, Ruth. I really do think you should try to have a little faith.
Oh, I shall strain every nerve.
Life without faith is an arid business.
How beautifully you put things, dear.
Well, I aim to please.
I wonder if I died, how soon it would be before you married again.
You're not going to die, Ruth. You're not the dying sort.
Well, neither was Elvira.
Yes, she was. As I look back, she had this certain out-of-this-world ethereal quality. No one could even call you remotely ethereal.
Nonsense. She was of the earth. Earthy.
Well, she is now.
Charles, that's the kind of observation that shocks people.
It's discouraging how people are so offended by the truth and so little by deceit.
Oh, write that down, why forget it?
You underrate me.
Anyhow, it was a question of poor taste rather than honesty. And a tragedy should darken our lives, Charles. I do say, with prophetic foreboding, poor Ruth.
Oh, that must be the Bradmans.
Well, it might be Master Arcati.
No, he goes on his bicycle. He goes absolutely everywhere on his bicycle.
Well, it really is very spirited of the old man.
Well, shall we go, or shall we let Edith have her fling?
Wait a moment, see what happens.
Well, perhaps she didn't hear.
She's probably on one knee in a pre-sprinting position, waiting for Cook to open the kitchen door.
Steady now, Edith.
Yes, sir. Dr. and Mrs. Bradman.
Oh my.
We're not late, are we? I only got back from the hospital about half an hour ago.
Oh, no, Master Arcati isn't even here yet.
That must have been him we passed down the hill. I said I thought it was.
Well, then he won't be long. I'm so glad you're able to come.
I'm absolutely thrilled.
I guarantee Violet will be good. I made her promise.
There isn't any need. I mean, I've only seen Master Arcati 2 or 3 times in the village. I've never seen him do anything peculiar at all.
Dry martini.
By all means.
Do you believe in it, Mrs. Cunningham? Do you think there's anything real genuine about it?
Oh, I'm afraid not. But I do think it's interesting how easily people allow themselves to be deceived.
You must believe in it. Mustn't you know the whole business would be a fake?
Well, I suspect the worst. A real professional charlatan. That's what I'm hoping for, anyhow. The character I'm writing for my book is a complete imposter. It's the main factor of the whole story.
What exactly are you hoping to get from him?
Oh, jargon, principally. A few of the tricks of the trade. You see, I haven't been to a seance in years, and I want to refresh my memory.
So this is not exactly new to you?
Oh, no. I once had an aunt who fancied herself a medium. My mother would invite her to the house all the time.
Was she convinced?
Well, No, my mother just naturally disliked my aunt and loved making a fool of her.
So I gather there were never any tangible results.
Sometimes you need to do so badly. I remember one time we were all sitting there in the pitch black, my mother groping away through Shamanal on the piano, when suddenly my aunt gave a shrill scream and said that she saw a small black dog by my chair. We turned on the lights, and sure enough, there it was.
How extraordinary.
Well, it was clearly a stray that had wandered in off the street, but still, I must take my hat off to Auntie for producing it, or rather for utilizing it.
What happened to it?
Well, it lived with us for years.
Well, I sincerely hope Master Arcati won't be producing any livestock tonight. We have so little room in this house.
Do you think he tells the future? I love having my fortune told.
No, I would expect so.
I was once told at the pier at South Sea that I was surrounded by lilies in a golden seven. Worried me for days.
We really must all be serious, you know, and act that we believe implicitly, otherwise he might not play.
Also, he might really mind. It would be cruel to upset him.
Actually, as good as gold.
Have you ever attended him, Doctor? Professionally, I mean.
Yes. He had influenza back in the annual wedding. He's only been here a little over a year, you know. I must say, he was singularly unpsychic then. I always understood he was a knot club.
Oh, yes, we originally met as colleagues at one of Mrs. Wilmot's Sunday evenings at Sandgate.
What sorts of books does he write?
Two sorts. Rather fantastic children's stories filled with highly conventional flora and fauna. And, let's see, memoirs of minor royalty, very reverent, sentimental, and extremely funny.
Here he is.
He knows, doesn't he? About tonight. You're not going to spring it on him, are you?
No, it was all arranged last week. I told him how distinctly interested I was in anything to do with the occult, and he blossomed like a rose.
I really feel quite nervous, as though we were going to give a speech.
Go and meet him, darling.
Means my black up against that little bush will be perfectly all right if no one touches it.
The Master Arcati!
How kind of you to have come all this way.
I'm afraid I'm rather late. I had a sudden presentiment on the way here that I was going to have a puncture, so I went back to fetch my pump. And of course I didn't end up having a puncture at all.
Well, perhaps you will on the way home.
Ah, Dr. Bradman, the doctor with the gentle hands.
I'm delighted to see you looking so well. This is my wife.
Oh, we've known each other for years. We meet coming out of shops.
Would you care for a cocktail?
Well, if it's a dry martini, yes. If it's a concoction, no. Experience has taught me to be very wary of concoctions.
It is a dry martini.
Ah, very well. Well, it was wonderful cycling through the woods this evening. I was deafened with birdsong.
Yes, it's been lovely all day.
Ah, but the evening is the time, mark my words. Martini, please.
You can't rush these things, you know.
Don't you find it very tiring bicycling everywhere?
Oh, on the contrary, I find it very stimulating. It's getting far too sedentary in London. Oh, that horrid little flat with the dim lights. They had to be dim, you know, the point's expected.
I must say, I find bicycling very exhausting.
Ah, steady rhythm, that's what counts. Once you get the knack of it, you need never look back. On you get and away you go.
But those hills, Master Arcati, pushing up those awful hills.
Oh, just knack again. Down with your head, up with your heart, and you're over the top in a flash, and down the other side like a dragonfly. I'll say, it's the best dry martini I've had in years.
Will you have another?
Well, certainly. You're a very clever man, Mr. Condamine. It takes anyone can write a novel, but it takes a very special man to make a dry martini that's dry enough.
Are you writing anything nowadays, Master Arcati?
Every morning, regular as clockwork, 7 to 1.
Is it a novel or memoir?
Oh, it's actually a children's book. I dig up my memoir of Princess Paliatani because she died in April. Talked to her about it the other day and she implored me to go on with it, but I just really hadn't the heart.
You talked to her the other day about it?
Yes, through my control, of course. She sounded quite irritable.
It's funny, isn't it, to think of people in the spirit world being irritable?
Well, no, we have no evidence that this afterlife is any less exasperating than the current one, now do we?
Oh, Mr. Conway, how can you?
I suppose it's dreadfully ignorant of me not to know, but who was Princess Paliatani?
Oh, she was originally a Jewish Modessa, quite remarkable beauty. It's an accepted fact that as she would whiz by on the train, men would stand up on top of the stations to watch her whiz by.
And she was a keen traveler then.
In her younger days, yes. Later on, she met a Mr. Clark in the consulate service and settled down for a little while.
How did she become Princess Pagliatani?
Oh, that was years later. Mr. Clark passed over and left her penniless with 2 strapping girls.
Oh, how unpleasant.
Well, no, not really. She actually went to Japan after that, and that's where she met old Pagliatani. He was quite struck by her beauty, actually, and he immediately married her.
And what happened to the girls?
She neither saw nor spoke to them in over 23 years.
How extraordinary.
No, she was always very erratic emotionally.
Dinner served, Mum.
Thank you, Edith. Shall we?
No red meat, I hope.
Well, there's meat, but I don't think it'll be very red. Would you rather have an egg or something?
No. If the meat's not very red, it won't matter much. I just always make it a rule to never eat red meat before I work. It sometimes has a very important effect.
What sort of an effect?
Yes. Well, you see, well, it doesn't matter much if the meat isn't very red. We'll risk it.
Very well then. Master Arcati, Mrs. Bradman, your Aunt Charles is right.
And on mother's side, she went right back to the bourgeois, which I think accounted for a lot, one way or another. Even as a child, she was prone to the most destructive tempers. Very inbred, you know.
Yes, indeed.
I talked to her about it the other day. My control was actually quite scared of her. I mean, she's only a child, after all.
Do you always use a child as a control?
Yes, they're generally the best. I've actually worked with Daphne for years.
And she still goes being on her child? I mean, she doesn't show any signs of growing any older?
Time values on the other side are utterly different from ours.
Do you feel funny when you go off into a trance?
What way funny?
Mrs. Bradman doesn't mean funny in its comic implication. I believe she meant odd or strange.
Well, it was a very unfortunate choice of words.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it doesn't matter in the least. Please don't apologize.
At what age did you discover that you had these extraordinary powers?
It was when I was quite young. My mother was a medium before I was, so I had every opportunity to start on the bottom floor, as you might say. I will never forget it. I had my first trance when I was 4 years old. My first ectoplasmic manifestation when I was 5 1/2. Oh, what a day that was. Of course, the manifestation was quite small and of very short duration, but, you know, a child of my size, it was most gratifying.
Your mother must have been so pleased.
Oh, she was.
I wish they'd hurry up. I'm terribly excited.
Oh, don't be. Makes everything much, much more difficult.
Can you foretell the future?
No, certainly not. I disapprove of fortune tellers most strongly.
Really? Why?
Too much fake and guesswork mixed up with it. Even when the gift is genuine, which it very rarely is. You just can't count on it.
Why not?
Time again. Time is the ship in which all our frail mystic ships are wrecked.
You mean because it has never yet been proved that the past, the present, and the future are not one and the same thing?
I long ago came to the conclusion that nothing has definitely been proven about anything.
How very wise.
Yes.
I want you to leave the dining room just as it is for tonight, Edith. You can clear the table in the morning.
Yes, Mum.
We don't want to be disturbed for the next hour or so for any reason. Is that quite clear?
Yes.
And if anyone should telephone, just say we're out and take a message.
Yes, Mum.
Unless it's an urgent call for Yale.
Unless it's an urgent call for Dr. Bradman.
Yes, Mum.
There's not likely to be one, is there?
I don't think so, no.
Once I'm off, it won't matter much, but I will say any interruption during the preliminary stages may be disastrous. Yes.
Well, Master Arcati, the time is drawing near.
Who knows? It may be receding.
How very true.
I hope you feel in the mood, Master Arcati.
Oh, it isn't a question of mood, it's a question of concentration.
You must forgive us for being impatient. We can perfectly easily wait if you're not quite ready to start.
No, nonsense. I am perfectly ready. Hi-ho, to let we go.
Is there anything you'd like us to do?
Do?
Oh, yes, hold hands or anything.
That'll come later. First, a few deep breaths of fresh air. You may talk amongst yourselves if you wish. You won't bother me.
Oh dear.
Wonderful dinner, darling. I congratulate you.
The moose wasn't quite right.
I agree it looked funny, but it tasted delicious.
That cuckoo was very angry.
What?
I said that cuckoo was very angry. Listen.
How can you tell?
Simba, no moon. Well, that's just as well, I think. There is mist rising from the marshes. There's no need for me to light my bicycle up, is there? No one's likely to fall over it.
No, we're not expecting anybody else.
Right. Good night, you foolish bird. Do you have a table?
Oh yes, we thought this one would do.
No, that one's better.
Change over.
You tell me, Edith, we didn't want to be disturbed.
Yes, darling.
This is the part I always hate.
Are you nervous?
Yes, when I was a child, I used to always be sick.
How fortunate you grew out of this.
Children are always more prone to be sick than grown-ups, though, aren't they? I know I could never travel in a train with any degree of safety until I was 14.
Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he have but brown bread and butter? I hate that very much because it doesn't rhyme at all. Daphne loves it.
Who's Daphne?
Daphne is Master Arcati's control. She's a little girl.
Oh yes, of course.
How old is she?
She was rising 7 when she died.
And when was that?
February the 6th, 1884.
Poor thing.
She must be a bit old, black, bold in the tooth by now. I should think.
You should think. Well, I fear you don't think, at least not profoundly enough.
Please forgive me, Master Arcati. I can assure you I'm extremely interested.
Well, it doesn't matter in the least. Quite used to skeptics. They generally turn out to be the most vulnerable, receptive in the long run.
You better take that warning to heart, Dr. Bradman.
Again, forgive me, Master
It's of
Arcati.
no consequence. Will you all please sit around the table?
Mrs. Bradman?
What about the lights?
Yeah, I'll get to that. Now, please, place your hands on the table here. All right. Now, I have 1 or 2 things to say, so we all please pay attention.
Of course.
Once I begin the music, I will then either walk about the room, or I will lay down on the couch. Then, the music will play.
Wait, what music?
I'll get to it. Then the music will play. I will pull up this stool over here. I will place the stool right here. Then, I will sit down on said stool. I will place my hands directly upon yours. And then, after that, we'll begin. And you don't address me, because I don't want to be disturbed. Is that quite clear?
Of course.
All right. So I assume that's the gramophone.
Yes, would you like me to start?
No, I'll get to it. All right? We're finally getting this music that you insist upon. Oh, let's see what we have. Worms? Ugh, no. Rachmaninoff. Ugh, too florid. Where's the dance music?
The loose ones on the left.
All right. I'm afraid none of them are very new.
But it's all right. Daphne is much more attached to Irving Berlin. She likes a tune she can hum to. Here's one right here. Always.
Always?
Charles, do sit down. What is the matter?
Nothing at all.
The light switch is by the door.
Yes, all except the gramophone.
All right, I understand. Now, I will say that I cannot guarantee that anything will happen. Daphne, who's my control, she may be sick and unavailable. She does have a cold. Also, a great many other things may occur. One of you may have an emanation, or we may conjure a poltergeist. They're so destructive and they're noisy.
Oh, in what way destructive?
Well, they throw things, you know.
No, I didn't know.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, all right? Now, fortunately, an emanation this time of year is most unlikely.
What do emanations do?
Well, they usually take the form of a very cold wind.
I don't think I should like that.
And sometimes they reach even hurricane velocity.
You don't think it would be a good idea to take the more breakable pieces off the mantelpiece before we start?
No, I can assure you I have my own way of dealing with elementals. Now, Now, I will begin the music, and then I will join you.
Yes, touching me. I remember what Mr. Arcati said.
Quiet.
Everything went wrong, and the whole day long I feel so blue. For the longest while I forget time when I met you.
Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? One rap for yes, two raps for no. Is there anybody there?
Oh,
Shut your mouth. What did I say about not wanting to be distracted? Any little sound you make is distracting. All right. Now, you say there is somebody there. Is it you, Daphne? Is your cold any better? But are you doing anything for it? Daphne, stop it! Be good, child. Now, you say there is somebody there. All right? Are you there to see somebody here? All right? Who are you here to see? Me? Okay. Dr. Bradman? No. Are you here to see Mrs. Bradman? Oh, right. Oh, this is getting interesting. Are you here to see Mrs. Condamine? Daphne, stop it! Are you here to see Mr. Condamine? Aha! There's somebody here that wishes to speak to you, Mr. Condamine.
Tell him to leave a message.
I must implore you not to be so flippant.
Charles, how can you be so idiotic? You'll spoil everything.
Sorry, it slipped out.
Now, can you think of anybody who's passed over recently?
No, not recently. Except for my cousin in the civil service, but I see no reason why he doesn't want to talk to me. We haven't spoken in years.
Are you Charles's cousin from the civil service? Afraid we've drawn a blank here. Can't you think of anyone else who's passed over? Just rack your brains.
It might be old Mrs. Plummet, you know. She died on Whit Monday.
I see no reason why old Mrs. Plum don't want to talk to me. We have very little in common.
It's worth trying anyhow.
Are you old Mrs. Plummet?
She was rather deaf. Perhaps you'd better shout.
Are you old Mrs. Plummet? There's no one there at all.
how disappointing, just as we were getting on so nicely.
Well, be quiet.
I'm afraid there's nothing left but for me to go into a trance. I hope to avoid it because it's so exhausting, but what must be, must be. I'll start the music again.
Not always. Don't
Charles.
play always.
I'm afraid it would be very prudent to change horses midstream, if you know what I mean.
Little Tommy Tucker sings for his supper. What shall he have but brown bread and butter?
That must be Daphne. She ought to have had her annually time.
Get up, please. Oh my!
Darn it!
I can't hold it.
It's trying to get away. Press down hard. There now.
Aren't we to pick it up and leave it where it is?
How the devil do I know?
There's no need to snap at me.
Leave it where it is.
Oh, all right now. Which one of you said that?
Said what?
Someone just said leave it where it is.
Nonsense, dear.
I heard it distinctly.
Nobody else did they?
I didn't know.
Neither did I.
It's you, Ruth. You're playing tricks.
I haven't done anything of the sort. I haven't uttered.
Good evening, Charles.
Ventriloquism, that's why, is it? Ventriloquism.
What on earth's the matter with you?
It's difficult to think what to say after 7 years, but I suppose good evening's as good as anything else.
Who are you?
Elvira, of course. Don't be so silly.
That's it. Everybody up. The entertainment's over.
Charles, how tiresome of you. Just as we were beginning to enjoy ourselves.
Just never again, as long as I live.
Did you hear something that we didn't hear, really?
Of course not. I was pretending.
Oh, I know you were. But what are we to do with Master Arcati?
Bring him around as soon as possible.
I think we ought to leave him alone.
Oh, but he might stay like that for hours.
He's out, all right.
Bring him around. It's dangerous to leave him like that.
Charles, you're behaving most peculiarly.
Master Arcati, wake up! Master Arcati, little Tommy Tucker! Help me put him in the chair, right?
Go easy, old man.
Yeah, brandy. Bring me some brandy.
Charles, you're spilling it all down his front.
Master Arcati!
He's coming around.
Well, that's that.
Are you all right?
Oh, I've never felt better in my life.
Would you like some more brandy?
Brandy? So that's that funny taste in my mouth. Dr. Bradman, I'm ashamed of you. You ought to have known better. Brandy on top of a trance could have been catastrophic. Oh, that out of my face. I shan't sleep a wink tonight as it is.
Oh, no, I shan't.
Why not?
The whole experience is unhinged me.
Well, what happened?
Well, nothing much happened, Master Arcati, after you went off.
No, something happened. I can feel it.
Well, Charles pretended he heard a voice in order to try and frighten us.
It's only joking. Well, it was a very poor joke, if I must say. Either way, I am fully prepared to say that there's something else psychic in this room, apart from myself.
Well, I don't see how there can be, Master Arcati, really.
Well, there is. I can feel it. Sensed it in my vibrations, I would say. Well, either way, we'll try again some other time.
That would be lovely.
Good night, Mrs. Bradman.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Condon. Good night. Well, all I can say is I'm very sorry that so little occurred. We'll try again some other evening. Daphne, she's sick, when she's sick, when she doesn't do it, I can't do it. Jill's not. We'll try again some other evening, all right?
Indeed.
Good night, Mrs. Bradman.
Good night.
Yes. Good night, Dr. Bradman.
Congratulations, Master Arcati.
Congratulations. I don't sense that irony. I've got a friend. No chum, you know what I mean. She's an expert at psychic hypnosis. And I feel that you will be her next subject. I will have her look you over at once.
I'm sure I should be charmed.
Good night, everybody. Next time we'll really put our backs up, all right?
Oh dear.
Do be careful, Mrs. Condon. He might hear you.
I can't help it, really, I can't. I've been holding this in for ages.
He certainly put you in your place, Gail, and serves you right.
Oh. He's raving mad, of course. Mad as a hatter. I can't tell if he really believes, but I just think he's probably half convinced himself by now.
Do you think Mr. Condon got the atmosphere he wanted for his book?
Well, he might have got a great deal more if he hadn't spoiled everything by showing off. I'm really very cross with him. Ooh. I suddenly felt a draft. There must be a window open.
No, they're shut.
Do you think that what Master Arcati called him, maybe?
Elemental? No, he distinctly said it was the wrong time of year for elementals.
Absolutely. I think he's just really convinced himself, but the trance was genuine enough. But that can all be accounted for.
Hysteria.
Yes, from hysteria, I should imagine.
Well, the old boy's gone hemming down our driveway at a hell of a speed. We had a bit of trouble lighting his lamp, though.
Oh, poor thing.
I have a theory. I do think that he is completely sincere.
Charles, how could he be?
It is possible, Doctor, isn't it? There's some sort of self-hypnosis.
It might be. As we explained this here just a minute ago, there are some certain hysterical subjects. see, the moment I start talking about anything that really interests me, my wife interrupts me.
You know I'm right. You've got to get up early in the morning. It's past 11.
I'll do a little reading up on the whole business, just for the fun of it.
Well, surely you must have a drink before you go.
No, I'm afraid Violet's right. I have to be up abominably early tomorrow. I have a patient being operated on in Canterbury.
Oh, well, it's been a thrilling evening.
It's very sweet of you to include us.
Good night, Mrs. Condamine.
Good
Thank
night,
you so
Doctor.
much.
You're sure about the drink?
Quite sure.
Come along, darling.
Well, darling,
Well,
would you say the evening had been profitable?
yes, quite.
I must say, it was extremely funny at moments.
Yes, very.
Are you all right?
Yeah. What?
You seem odd somehow. Do you feel quite well?
Perfectly. I don't think I shall start writing tonight. I just don't feel comfortable with it. It's a bit chilly in here.
Well, come over by the fire.
That was very clumsy, Charles, dear.
Elvira!
Charles? Yes.
Are you a ghost?
Oh, I suppose I am.
Charles.
It's all very confusing.
Darling Charles, what are you talking about?
Did you mean you can't see her?
What are you talking about?
Elvira!
Elvira?
Sorry. Elvira, this is Ruth. This is Elvira.
Come and sit down, darling.
You mean you can't see her?
Now listen, Charles. You just sit quietly by the fire and I'll mix you another drink.
You mean you can't see her? She's standing right there.
Are you mad? What's happened to you?
You really can't see her?
Stop talking like that, Charles. If this is a joke, it's gone quite far enough.
I'm going mad. I'm raving mad.
Here, drink this, and then we'll go to bed.
Oh, Charles, get rid of her, and then we can talk in peace.
It's a thoroughly immoral suggestion.
What is there immoral in that?
Sorry, Bobby?
Drink your brandy.
What is so urgent? You want me to drink my brandy?
I want you to relax. You can't relax standing up.
Oh, African natives can. They can stand on one leg for hours.
I don't happen to be an African native.
You don't happen to be a what?
An African native!
What's that got to do with it?
Never mind.
Listen, Charles. I gather you've got some sort of plan behind all this. I'm not quite a fool. I suspected you when we were doing that idiotic seance.
I swear I'm not.
It's probably something to do with the characters in your book, how they or one of them would react to a certain situation. I refuse to be used as a guinea pig unless I warn beforehand what it's all about.
I swear, Elvira is here.
Yes, darling, I can see her distinctly next to the ice bucket with a zebra.
You're not making this up.
I'm not going to listen to any more of this nonsense, Charles.
Hooray!
I'm going up to bed. I'll leave you to turn out the light. I shan't be asleep. I'm too upset, so you can come and say goodnight to me if you wish.
That's very big of her, I must say.
Please shut up. You're behaving like a goddess tonight.
That is all I have to say, Charles. Good night.
Ruth!
That was the most enjoyable half hour I've spent in a long time.
Elvira, how could you?
Oh, poor Ruth.
What are you doing here?
I'm afraid I don't know the technical term for it, and I can't quite remember.
How long are you going to be here?
I don't know that either. Why? Would that be so awful?
You must admit it's a bit of a shock.
I don't see why. It just takes a little adjusting is all. After all, you called me here, and at a great inconvenience I came.
I didn't know such thing.
Yes, you did. I recall. That awful child with the cold came and told me you wanted to see me urgently.
Came where?
Somebody called me, Charles.
Well, it wasn't me.
I remember. I was playing backgammon with a very sweet old Oriental gentleman. I believe his name was Genghis Khan. I had just thrown double sixes and that child paged me, and next thing I know I was in this room. Perhaps it was your subconscious.
Why did to do? What the hell am I to do?
The least you could do is be a little pleased to see me, Charles.
You must admit it's a little inconvenient.
Don't you love me anymore?
I shall always love the memory of you. I have to, okay, it is nice to see you again in one way.
That's better.
What's better?
Your voice. It was kinder.
I ever bad to you when you were alive?
Often.
I'm sure that's an exaggeration.
Not at all. Don't you remember when we went to Cornwall and stayed at that awful hotel? You hit me with a billiard cue.
Only very, very gently.
Oh, Charles, I did love you very much.
I loved you too.
Why don't you do as Ruth suggested and relax? There now. Put your head back.
Like that?
Just like that. And you feel anything?
Yeah, a slight breeze through my hair.
Well, I suppose that's better than nothing.
I suppose if I am going mad, they'll just put me in an asylum somewhere.
No, don't worry about that.
No, it's funny, I feel just strangely peaceful now. Poor Ruth.
To hell with Ruth.
Good morning, darling.
Good morning, Charles.
It certainly is.
What certainly is what?
A good morning, a tremendously good morning. There isn't a cloud in the sky and everything looks freshly washed.
Edith's keeping your breakfast hot. You'd better ring.
Anything interesting in the Times?
Don't be silly, Charles.
I intend to work all day.
Good.
It certainly is a amazing thing about daylight, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Of the way it reduces everything to normal.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
I'm sure I'm very glad to hear it.
You're rather glacial this morning.
Are you surprised? Well,
Frankly, yes, I expected more of you.
well, really. Perhaps this is one of my off days.
Good morning, Edith.
Good morning, sir.
Feeling fit?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
How's Cook?
I don't know, sir. I haven't asked her.
Well, you should. You should ask everyone how they are every day.
Yes.
It oils the wheels.
Yes, sir.
That will be all for the moment, Edith.
Yes, ma'am.
I wish you wouldn't be facetious with the servants, Charles. It confuses them and undermines their morale.
So that point of view, retrogressive, not downright feudal.
Well, I don't care what you consider it. I have to run the house, and you don't.
Are you implying that I couldn't?
You're at liberty to try.
Ruth, I can't help it. I don't see what I've done that was so awful.
You behaved abominably last night. You wounded me and insulted me.
I did not.
You called me a gutter snipe.
I was talking to Elvira.
Nonsense. You were drunk.
So that's your story, is it?
You had 2 strong dry martinis before dinner, a great deal too much burgundy at dinner, heaven knows how much port and kummer with Dr. Bradman while I was doing my best to entertain that madman. And then 2 double brandies later, I gave them to you myself. Of course you were drunk.
I was not drunk. I was a victim of an aberration.
Nonsense.
I swear, Ruth, I can't explain it, but I heard Elvira's voice during the seance
I
last
would really rather not discuss it any further,
night. You
Charles.
must discuss it. It's very disturbing.
There, I agree with you. It showed you up in a most unpleasant light. I find that extremely disturbing.
Ruth, I can't help it. I saw her.
You couldn't have seen her.
I know I couldn't have, but I did.
And you seriously expect me to believe you weren't drunk?
Look, you have explained this to your rather adroitly that you think I was drunk, but I swear to you, I was sober for first to last, and the whole thing upset me very much.
You were upset indeed. What about me?
I don't know what you mean.
You called me a gutter snipe, told me to shut up. When I quietly suggested we should go to bed, you said with the most disgusted leer that it was an immoral suggestion.
I was talking to Elvira.
Oh, well, if you were, I can only say it conjures up a fragrant image of your first marriage.
I would rather you not bring up my first marriage. It has nothing... I would care for you not to sneer at it.
I'm really not so interested in your first marriage as you think I am, Charles. It's your second marriage that's absorbing me at the moment.
Only
It seems to be on the rocks.
Only because you persist in this attitude of yours.
My attitude is that of any woman whose husband gets drunk and hurls abuse at her.
I was not drunk.
Be quiet, they'll hear you in the kitchen.
I don't give a damn they in Buxton Town Hall. I was not drunk.
Control yourself, Charles.
Can I clear, please, Mom?
Yes, Edith.
Cook wants to know about lunchroom.
Will you be into lunch, Charles?
No, I don't think so. I shall be quite all right up in my room with a bottle of gin, thank you.
Don't be silly, dear. Tell Cook we shall both be in, Edith.
Yes, Mom.
I'm going into Hyde this morning. Is there anything you want?
Yes, a great deal. I don't think you'll find it in Hyde.
Tell Cook to put Alka-Seltzer on my list, would you, Edith?
Yes, Mom.
It's clouding over.
You have a genius for understatement.
Don't worry about the table, Edith. I'll put it away.
Yes, Mom.
Please, be reasonable.
I'm being perfectly reasonable.
I can't explain it. I really saw her. After you left, we had quite the cozy little chat.
You couldn't have seen her, Charles. No one else did.
I can't help it. I did.
I'm willing to concede, then, that you imagined you did.
Well, that's what I've been trying to explain to you for hours.
How do you account for it, then?
I can't account for it. That's what's so upsetting.
How did you feel yesterday? During the day, I mean.
Quite normal.
What did you have for lunch?
Well, you ought to know. You had it with me.
Let's see, there was the lemon sole and that cheese thing.
What should happen to cheese thing at lunch to make me want to see my deceased wife after dinner?
Oh, you never know. It was rather rich.
Well, then why don't you see your dead husband then? You're just as much of as I did.
This isn't getting us anywhere at all, Charles.
Well, it won't, as long as you keep ascribing supernatural phenomena to glorious irritation.
Supernatural friend.
Well, I bet you will have been much less agitating.
Perhaps you ought to see a nerve specialist.
I'm not neurotic, and I never have been.
A psychoanalyst, then.
I refused to go through months of humiliating interrogation, only to find out at the age of 4 I was in love with my rocking horse.
What do you suggest,
I
then?
don't suggest anything. I'm very uneasy.
Perhaps there's something pressing on your brain.
I should know about anything like that, shouldn't I?
Well, not necessarily. An uncle of mine had a lump the size of a cricket ball pressing on his brain for years, and he never felt a thing.
See. And did he have delusions and hear things that weren't there?
I don't think so. He had it taken out, and he's been bright as a button ever since.
Oh, what the hell are we talking about him for? It's a sheer waste of valuable
I
time.
only brought him up as an example, Charles.
I think I'm going mad.
How do you feel now?
Other than worried, quite perfectly all.
And you're not hearing or seeing anything in the least unusual?
Not a thing.
Good.
You absolutely ruined that flower bed by the sundial. It looks like a mixed salad.
No, God!
What's the matter now?
She's back!
Who's back?
Elvira!
Pull yourself together and don't be absurd, Charles.
I think it's all those nasturtiums. They're absolutely vulgar.
I like nasturtiums.
You like what?
They're all right in moderation, but in mass like that, it's just beastly, Charles.
Charles, what did you mean about nasturtiums?
Never mind that. Dear, she's back. You've got to help me.
Who's back?
It's Elvira!
To hell with Elvira!
There now, she's getting cross. And I heard that little scene that you were making. I heard it all the way down to the garden.
Do be quiet. It's really none of your business.
If you behaving like a lunatic isn't my business, nothing is, Charles.
I was talking to Elvira!
I suppose it was about me, wasn't it? I should feel sorry, but I don't. I'm delighted.
You're despicable.
Despicable. I like that, I must say. I've been doing my level best to control myself, Charles, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I'd like to say here and now, I don't believe a word about your damned hallucinations. You've been up to something. There's a certain furtiveness in your manner. It's been there for weeks. Why don't you be honest and tell me what it is?
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't been the least bit furtive.
You're trying to upset me. You're trying to goad me into doing something I might regret. You're making me utterly miserable, Charles.
No, I'm not.
Don't come near me.
Let her have a good cry, it'll do her good.
Please do shut up.
Shut up! You're talking to Elvira! Well, go on talking to her then. Talk talk to you until you're blue in the face, but don't talk to me.
Ruth! Ray!
Why are you here?
Well, I told you I don't quite recall, but I'm here now. Isn't that wonderful?
It's not who you ask. You must make a promise to me that you'll only come to speak to me from now on when I'm alone.
Oh, Charles, you've never been so rude to me before.
I don't mean to be rude, it's just that...
It's your own fault. If you hadn't married a woman who can't see past her own nose, this would not be a problem. If she had a grain of affection for you, she'd believe what you say.
Well, you must be a little hard to believe.
I don't see why. She shouldn't be so disagreeable all the time.
Charles,
Yes?
I'm awfully sorry I was cross.
Oh?
I understand everything now. Really, I do.
You do?
Oh,
Yes.
look out. She's up to something.
I'll deal with you later.
Yes, dear. We'll all be quiet now. We all will, won't we? I want you to come upstairs with me and go to bed.
Oh, the way that woman hops on bed is nothing short of erotic.
Come along, darling.
What are you all about?
I'm not on about anything. I just want you to go quietly to bed and wait until Dr. Bradman comes.
No, Ruth, you're wrong.
I'll have you in a straitjacket before you know it.
But Elvira, you've got to help me. You know, maybe make us see you or something.
Oh, I couldn't possibly manage that. It's terribly complicated. Probably the most difficult business there is. It takes years of study, and not even Merlin can do it.
Ruth, could I please just have 5 more minutes?
Well, I really think it would be better.
Bear with me. But just 5 minutes longer. And I shall prove to you that the shade or ghost or whatever you call it of my dead wife is in this room.
Very well. What is it?
Fine. Come, sit down.
Right. There.
Right. Now, you see that vase of flowers there over on the table?
Yes, dear, I did them myself this morning.
Quite untidily, if I may say so.
You may not.
Very well, I never will again.
Elvira will now take that vase of flowers and bring it over here. You will, Elvira, won't you? Just to please me.
I don't see why I should. You've been insufferable to me ever since I arrived.
Please.
Very well. But I do not approve of these Houdini's carryings-on.
Okay, now, look closely.
How dare you, Charles?
What?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, not anything. It's Elvira.
It's a trick. I know perfectly well it's a trick.
I swear it's not.
You're trying to get rid of me. You're trying to drive me out of my mind.
I'm not.
You're cruel and sadistic, and I'll never forgive you.
Elvira, help me and do something else.
Certainly, anything to oblige.
Oh, no, Ruth.
Let me go, Charles.
Ruth.
Charles! Oh, let me go.
Ruth,
Charles,
I
this
don't
is
understand.
madness. This is hypnotism, isn't it? It's some sort of auto-suggestion. Swear to me it's only that, Charles. Please swear to me it's only that.
Ah! Hypnotism, my foot! Oh!
Ruth!
Master Arcati!
My dear Mrs. Conway, I came directly as I got your message.
That was very kind of you.
Kind? No, not at all. Look upon this as an outing.
Oh, I'm so glad. Would you like some tea?
China or Indian?
China.
Oh, good. I never touch anything. It upsets my vibrations.
Ah, well, do sit down.
Thank you. This room is very interesting. I noticed it the other night when I was here.
I'm not entirely surprised.
Have you ever been to Cowden Manor?
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
Yeah, that's very interesting too. It strikes you like a blow between the eyes the moment you walk in. 2 scoops of sugar in my tea, please. No milk.
I'm profoundly disturbed, Master Arcati, and I want your help.
I figured as much. What's in these sandwiches here?
Cucumber.
Ah, delicious. Now, fire away. What do you want my help about?
It's awfully difficult to explain.
Facts first, explanations afterwards.
What's the facts that are so difficult to explain? They're quite fantastic.
Yes, facts very often are. Take creative talent, for instance. Shakespeare, or Michelangelo. Look at Mozart. He pulled notes out of thin air and placed them on a piece of paper when he was practically a baby. How do you explain that? Facts. Just pure facts. I mean, I know it's, common now to ascribe to glands, but to that I respond with fidelity.
Yes, I'm sure you're quite right.
Yes. Now, fire away.
I know it sounds idiotic, but last night, after the seance, something happened.
Ah, I knew it. So, no sudden gust of cold wind, I hope, though.
No, it's worse than that.
Okay. Well, I'm all attention.
You know that my husband was married before.
Yes, I've heard.
His first wife, Elvira, died comparatively young.
Where?
Here, in this house, in this very room.
Okay. I'm beginning to see daylight.
She was convalescing one evening after pneumonia and started to laugh helplessly at one of the BBC musical programs and died of a heart attack.
All right. When did she pass over?
7 years ago.
Okay.
She didn't materialize to me, it was only to my husband.
Okay. Well, I am beginning to see daylight here. This is absolutely wonderful.
I can see how from your own professional standpoint it would be regarded as a major achievement.
Oh, it's more than an achievement, it's a triumph, my dear. Nothing more or less than a triumph.
But from my own personal point of view, it is, to say the least of it, embarrassing.
Well, for me it's a triumph, so I'm happy about it.
Please do sit down again, Master Arcati.
Well, how can I sit down? This is incredible. I haven't had such success since the Sudbury case.
Nevertheless, I must insist upon you sitting down and controlling your natural exuberance.
All right, I'm
I
sorry.
appreciate fully your pride in your achievement, but it has made my position untenable.
Very well.
I hold you entirely responsible.
I said very well. I apologize. I was being incredibly selfish. How can I help you?
How? By getting her away again as soon as possible, of course.
I'm afraid that's easier said than done.
What do you mean she is liable to stay here indefinitely?
Well, I feel that has a lot to do with her own.
Oh, but my dear Master Arcati.
Well, I mean, we can try to look on the bright side.
I don't think so, Master Arcati.
Well, I'll say this. I fully sympathize with you. I fully sympathize with where you're coming from. But I will tell you that I can't do anything about it. I offer no great hope.
Perhaps you should write a report to the Psychical Research Society.
Fine. Since you insist, I will write this report. Can I use your name?
I would be much more obliged if there were no names mentioned.
All right, fine.
It's a small village and gossip is most undesirable.
Okay, I said fine. All right, so you say she is visible only to your husband?
Yes,
Only visible to husband. Audible to, I presume?
extremely audible.
Extremely audible. Was your husband devoted to her?
I believe so.
Husband was devoted.
It was apparently a reasonably happy marriage.
Tut.
Beg your pardon?
When did she pass over?
7 years ago.
Aha! So that means she must have been on the waiting list.
Waiting list.
Yes, otherwise she would have been well past the materialization phase by now. She must have marked herself down for a return visit.
Do you mean that Charles, my husband, wanted her back all that much?
Well, it's possible. Of course, may have been by her own determination.
Well, that seems much more likely.
Yes. Would you say she was a woman of very strong character?
I don't know, Master Arcati. I never met her. Nor am I particularly interested in how and why she got here. I'm solely interested in how to get her away again as soon as possible.
Okay. Well, sorry. Can't help you with that. I offer no hope.
Do you mean to sit there and tell me, having mischievously conjured up this ghost or spirit or whatever she is, you're unable to do anything about it?
Honesty is the best policy.
But it's outrageous! I ought to hand you over to the police!
You go too far, Mrs.
I
Carnival.
go too far indeed. Do you have any idea what your insane amateur muddling has done?
Amateur? I have been a professional since I was a child. I will not tolerate the word amateur.
It seems to me to be the height of amateurishness to evoke malignant spirits and not be able to get rid of them again.
I was in a trance. Anything could happen while I'm in a trance.
Well, all I can suggest is that you go into another one immediately and get this damned woman out of my house.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Takes hours of preparation for a trance. Plus, I gotta be careful with my diet. I went to lunch earlier with my great chum. We had pie. I had a whole pot of Ovaltine and just stir that up, you know, it wasn't sitting very well in my stomach. So, you know, I tried to settle that question.
Well, you'll have to do something.
All right, fine. I will report the matter to the Society of Psychical Research.
Will they be able to do anything?
I doubt it. My expectation is they would send somebody here. This person would question you thoroughly. Then they would tap the walls, you know, wiretapping and whatnot. Then they would make you go to London. You'd have to testify. They make a big spectacle about it. You'd be front page news. You know, embarrassing.
That's too humiliating, really it is.
Well, I mean, you can look on the bright side, I suppose.
Look on the bright side. Do you suppose if your wife's first husband suddenly came back from the grave and came to live in the house with you, you'd be able to look on the bright side?
You know, I really resent your time. I really do.
You most decidedly have no right to. You're entirely to blame for the whole horrible situation.
Hey! Need I remind you that I came here the other night on your own invitation?
On my husband's invitation.
Well, I did what I was requested to do. I came here, I performed a seance. You know, I was supposed to establish contact with the other side, and I didn't know there was ulterior motive.
Ulterior motive?
Yes, your husband was obviously eager to meet, to make contact with his former wife, and, you know, I didn't know that.
He had no desire to make contact with anyone. The whole thing was planned in order for him to get material he's writing for a book about a homicidal medium.
Am I to understand that I was only invited here on the other night in the spirit of mockery?
No. No, not at all. He merely wanted to get an idea of some of the tricks of the trade.
Tricks of the trade? I have never been so insulted in my life. This is ridiculous. I bet it. I'm out. I'm out. We have nothing more to say to each other. Goodbye.
Please don't. Please don't go, Master Arcati.
Well, you know what they say. If you conjure up this spirit for your own amusement, well, you're a joke. Your husband's a joke. You're rude. And quite frankly, I've had enough of it. I'm sick and tired of this amateur behavior on your part. So stew in your own juice.
Damn.
What the hell was Master Arcati doing here?
He came to tea.
Did you ask him?
Of course I did.
Why was he so cross about it? He nearly cut me dead.
I told him the truth about why we invited him here the other night.
That was quite unnecessary and most unkind.
He needed taking down a bit. He was blowing himself out like a pouter pigeon.
What was he doing here?
Well, she was trying to get me exercised, of course.
Is that true?
Is what true?
What Elvira said.
I was
You know perfectly well I can't hear what Elvira says.
I did love them so.
She asked if you had invited him here to see if you could get her exercised.
We discussed the possibilities.
Without even consulting me?
There's
I
a
had
snake
every
in the
right,
grass
Charles.
for you.
The situation is impossible and you know it.
Ruth, we must make allowances.
I have no desire to make allowances for Elvira.
You could have a little spot of fun if you just lighten up.
I have less of a desire for a spot of fun, Charles.
She's very bad-tempered, Charles. Why did you marry her?
Do be quiet. You want to make everything worse.
Who was that addressed to, her or me?
Both of you.
Where is Elvira at the moment?
She's standing right over there in the middle of the room.
Look here, Elvira. I shall have to call you Elvira, shan't I? I can't very well go on calling you Mrs. Condamine all the time. It would sound too silly.
Don't see why not.
Did she say anything?
She said she'd like nothing better.
Oh, Charles, dear, you're so sweet. I worship you.
I would like to ask you a frank question, Elvira. Why did you come here? I can't see you gaining anything for it other than making Charles into some sort of astral bigamist.
I came because the power of Charles' love tugged and tugged and tugged at me.
What did she say?
She said she wanted to see me again.
Well, surely she's done that now, hasn't she?
Ruth, we can't be inhospitable.
I have no desire to be inhospitable, Charles, but I would like some idea of how long you intend to stay, Elvira.
I don't know. I don't know. Isn't that awful?
She said she doesn't know.
Well, surely that's a bit inconsiderate.
Now, Ruth.
Charles, I can't put up with this any longer. I've been trying to make polite conversation all through dinner last night, and breakfast and lunch this morning. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Hooray.
Shut up.
Charles! I'm going up to bed. I shall have my dinner on a tray. I hope you both enjoy yourself.
Ruth!
Oh, let her go. She'll be down again later. Charles!
It's unlike her to act this way. I mean, usually she's so equable.
Oh, no, she isn't. Do you see her face? She has a hard mouth, Charles.
I would really prefer it if you did not discuss my wife with me. It makes me uncomfortable, and comparing her like she's a horse.
Oh, Charles. Do you love her?
Of course I do.
As much as you loved me?
Don't be silly, it's completely different.
I'm glad. It really was something special, wasn't it, Charles?
If you say so. You know, I really should go up and talk to her.
Oh, Charles.
It's my duty as a husband.
Very well. If you honestly believe it's your duty, I'll allow it.
Do?
You'll be right back, though. You'll come back soon?
What are you up to?
I don't know whatever you mean.
No, I know this mood of late. Whenever you were overpoweringly demure, it meant that you wanted something.
Oh, Charles. I only want to be alone with you.
Well, you are.
I mean, truly alone, without her yapping at us. Go on. I don't mind if you go. And just be back soon.
I'll probably dress for dinner while I'm up
You
there.
don't have to dress for me.
I always dress for dinner.
What shall you have? I would love to see you eat something delicious.
Just be a good girl and try not to get into trouble. You can play the gramophone if you like.
Thank you, Charles.
Everything went wrong, and the whole day long I feel so.
Does it show any signs of clearing?
No, it's still pouring.
I do sympathize with you, really I do. It's been a chapter of accidents, hasn't it?
Certainly has.
That seems to happen. Everything seems to go wrong at once, as though there was some evil force here at work. I remember once when Gail and I went away for a fortnight's holiday, not long after we were married. We were dogged by bad luck from beginning to end. The weather was vile, Gail sprained her ankle, and I caught a cold and had to stay in bed for 2 days. And to crown everything, the lamp that was in the sitting room set fire to the document Gail had been writing on, about the hyperplasia of the abdominal glands.
How dreadful.
Yes, and she had to write it all over again, every single word.
Are you sure you wouldn't like a cocktail or some sherry or something?
No, thank you. Gail will be down in a minute, and we've got to go like lightning. We're supposed to be at the Wilmots at 7, and it's nearly that now.
I'll have some sherry. I feel I need it.
Don't worry about your husband's arm, Mrs. Condamine. I'm sure it's only a sprain.
It's not his arm I'm worried about.
And I'm sure Edith will be up and again in a few days.
My cook gave notice this morning.
Really? Servants are awful, aren't they? Not a shred of gratitude. At the first sight of trouble, they run out on you like rats leaving a sinking ship.
I'm not entirely certain that your simile was fortunate, Mrs. Bradman.
I didn't mean it like that, really.
Nothing to worry about, Mrs. Contamine. It's only a slight strain.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
You put up a great deal of fuss when I was examined. Men are much worse patients than women, you know. Particularly high-strung men like your husband.
Is he highly strung, do you think?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I wanted to talk to you about that. He seems to be overworking lately.
Overworking?
Yes. He's up in nervous condition. Nothing to be worried about, to understand.
I see. Can you remember any symptoms?
Nothing to be unduly alarmed about, but the shock of the fall may have something to do with it, but I would suggest that he have complete rest for a couple of weeks.
Do you mean you ought to go away?
I do. In cases like this, some time away can be a good idea.
Can you remember any particular instances during your interview?
When I was examining him, all of a sudden shouted, "What are you doing in the bathroom?" And while I was writing his prescription, he said, "For God's sake, behave yourself."
Yes, he often goes on like that, particularly when he's writing a book.
It's funny, isn't it? Both your husband and your husband fall down on the same day.
Yes, if that sort of thing amuses you.
I didn't realize that, Mrs. Condomine.
Come along, my dear. You're talking too much as usual.
You're horrid.
I'll pop by and check in. Edith should be okay in a couple of days. The concussion is coming along very well, and let's make sure everything else is all right.
Thank you, Doctor. I do appreciate it.
Well, here's one of our patients. How are you feeling?
All right.
It's only a slight strain, you know.
Well, then is the damn sling really necessary?
It's a wise precaution. It'll prevent you from using your right hand unless it's really necessary.
I was planning on driving into Folkestone this evening.
It would be better if you didn't.
Well, it's really rather inconvenient.
You can just as easily go another night, Charles.
I can't stand another evening home alone. It's dreary. Please, Charles. I'll go Dottie. I haven't been to a movie in over 7 years.
Let me be the first to congratulate you.
What is that over there?
Charles, control yourself, I implore you.
Sorry, I forgot.
You can drive if you promise to go very slowly. Your gear change is on the left, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, use your right hand as little as possible.
All right.
You'd really just better go another night.
Couldn't you drive him in?
I'm afraid not. There's lots to do in the house, and there's poor Edith to be attended to.
Well, I'll leave you to fight it out amongst yourselves. But if you insist on going, remember, carefully and slowly does it. The roads are very slippery anyway. Come along, Violet.
Goodbye, Mr. Condomine.
Bye.
You really are infuriating, Elvira. Surely you can wait and go to the movies another night. And stop behaving like a schoolgirl. You're old enough to know better.
What?
I was talking to Elvira.
She isn't here.
She was a moment ago. She threw these at me.
Look, Ruth, you behaved very well the last few weeks, but you're not going to start making scenes again, are you?
I resent that air of patronage, Charles. I behaved well, as you call it, because there was nothing else to do. But I think it's only fair to warn you that I have no guarantee for the future. My patience is being stretched to its uttermost.
You must see it from her point of view a little. I mean, she comes back after all these years and expecting a little niceness, and all she's left with is brawling and hostility.
What did she expect?
Well, surely even an ectoplasmic manifestation, it deserves a little of the milk of human kindness.
Ah, milk of human fiddlesticks.
That just doesn't make sense, dear.
Elvira is about as trusting as a puff adder.
Granite, Ruth, they're sheer unyielding
A
granite.
good deal more dangerous into the bargain.
There's nothing dangerous about Elvira. She's so flighty and is one of her greatest features.
She is dangerous, Charles, and quite easily she can be. She's beginning to show her hand.
Melodramatic hysteria.
It's not melodramatic hysteria, it's true. This is a fight, Charles. A bloody battle to the death between Elvira and me. Can't you see that?
No.
You're a bigger fool than I thought you, Charles. She's trying to get you all to herself.
It's absurd. How could she?
By killing you off.
Killing me off? You're mad.
Why do you think Edith fell down the stairs and nearly cracked her skull?
Well, what's Edith got to do with
The
it?
whole top of the stair was covered in axle grease. Cook discovered it afterwards.
You're making this up.
I'm not. I swear I'm not. And why, when you were lopping off that dead branch from the pear tree, did the ladder break? Because it had been sawn through on both sides.
She couldn't. I mean, she's always been light and irresponsible. I've never thought her capable of low cunning.
Well, perhaps the spirit world has deteriorated her.
Ruth.
Don't you see now?
Well, what are we to do?
You're not to let Elvira know that we suspect a thing. I'm going to go to Master Arcati. I don't care how cross he is, he's got to help us. You may not know how to get rid of Elvira, but there should be some technical method of rendering her harmless. If he needs to go into a trance, he'll go into one if I have to beat him into it. If Elvira asks, tell her I've gone to see the vicar.
This is appalling. Hey, look out!
What?
I merely said it's a nice lookout.
What's a nice lookout?
The weather, Elvira. I mean, the glass is going down and down and down. I mean, it's positively macabre.
I fail to believe that at this particular moment you and Ruth are talking about the weather.
Now, Elvira.
I can't stand this anymore, Charles. Really, I can't.
She's broken out again.
What did she say?
She asked if she's broken out again.
How dare you talk like that, Elvira? Charles and I were not talking about the weather as you so shrewdly suspected. I should loathe you to think we had any secrets from you. So I'll tell you exactly what we were talking about. I was trying to persuade Charles not to drive you into Folkestone this evening. It will be bad for his arm.
Charles.
But as he seems to be determined to put your wishes before mine in everything, he's decided to take you anyhow. I'm sure I hope you have a lovely time.
Charles, have you been beastly to her?
I haven't been beastly to her. She just doesn't like being thwarted any more than you do.
She's a sterling character, Charles. It's a shame she's so ungiving.
Again, I would prefer if you did not discuss my wife with me. It makes me uncomfortable.
I won't mention her again.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Ready for what?
Well, to go to Folkestone, of course.
I want a glass of sherry first.
I don't believe you want to take me at all.
Of course I want to take you. I just want to have a drink first.
How familiar this is.
In what way familiar?
All through our marriage, as soon as I said I wanted to do something, you'd right away start to hedge me off.
I'm not hedging you off.
Charles, why are you being so tiresome? I want to go now.
You waited for 7 years. I doubt a few minutes will make any difference.
It's like I've been waiting forever. So we're just supposed to sit around again, another night of her working on that awful table center and yapping at us like a terrier.
Ruth is perfectly aware the table piece is hideous. I mean, it happens to be a gift for her mother.
Don't try to defend her taste to me, Charles. It's practically artsy-craftsy, and you know it.
It's not artsy-craftsy.
She has ruined this room. Look at the curtains. And that shawl is awful.
That was a gift from Aunt Kelly in Burma.
Obviously, because she was given it, she got it in Birmingham. Charles, I want to go. Can we just go to the movies, just like old times, and just have a moment together? I would love being alone with you.
All right, but probably in about a half hour, Ruth's gone to see the vicar.
What do you mean?
Well, she's taking the car to go see the vicar.
Ruth's taking the car.
Yes, to go see the
Go
vicar.
get her. Go stop her. Get her immediately, Charles.
Leave a few minutes ago.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
What are you in such a state for?
Not in a state. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing is the matter. Just go get the car back, Charles.
There's no doing this. She's gone.
Oh, please don't look at me like that, Charles.
What did you do?
I've done nothing.
You lied.
Oh no! Oh no!
Right, you are trying to kill me.
No, Charles. I wouldn't think of it. Please, Charles, just get the
Damn.
car back, Charles.
What have you done to the car? Hello? Oh God. The bridge down the Bowie Hill. Yes, I'll be there as soon as I can.
Oh, God. Well, all the dirty tricks. Oh, Ruth. Ruth.
it's an intrusion, Mr. Economy.
Oh, not at all. Thank you for coming, Master Arcati.
Yes. Well, you know, I allowed myself to get in a fit with your late wife the other day, so I just felt like this was my duty.
Never mind that. Please sit down. Would you like a coffee or liqueur or something?
Oh, no, thank you. I just really feel like it's my fault, you know? If I just kept a level head, not let her grind my gears, so much might have been averted.
Really, there's no need, Master Arcati.
Oh, but there is. It's my duty to be here.
Never mind that. It's...
I do mind. I feel very strongly about this. I mind with every fiber of my being. I threw up the sponge in a moment of crisis. I threw up the sponge instead of laying down the gauntlet.
Well, whatever you threw up, Master Arcati, it's of no consequence. I mean, there was nothing to be done. It's all over with anyway.
Listen, okay? Listen to me. The other night, actually it was last night, I was up reading and thinking a lot, okay?
It must have been very difficult for you.
All right. So I was up reading and, gather well alone.
Well, my first wife is not in the room. You know, she's been exhausted ever since the funeral. He's lying down upstairs. You see, my second wife hasn't left her side since the funeral, and she's been having a rather bad time.
Well, I gather that you haven't noticed any change in texture of the first wife's accident.
No, I mean, she's been a little under the weather, low in spirits, but otherwise she seems quite normal.
Well, that washes that out.
Washes what out?
It's just a little theory I had. It was widespread belief in the 19th century that any spirit that contributed to the death of a human being would disintegrate automatically.
But what makes you think that Elvira was responsible for the death of my second wife?
Elvira, huh? Elvira. What a pretty name. Elvira. Elvira.
You didn't answer my question. How did you know?
All right, it came to me last night in a blinding flash. I just drank enough some Ovaltine and I laid down in bed. My stomach was very upset, so I couldn't sleep. So I sat up with stomach pain and I yelled, "Great Scott! I got it!" So, after that, I put two and two together, and here I am.
Well, first off, I'm not quite sure how I feel about you lying in bed thinking of either of my wives, but I really would prefer if you keep your theories regarding my second wife's death to yourself, Master Arcati.
Listen, okay? Listen to me.
I'm listening.
I've been dreadfully remiss on the whole affair. Not only remiss, but untidy.
From what I understand, you talked to my second wife, you said that there was nothing to be done. You were perfectly honest, there's no...
But there is something to be done, there is! I've discovered a formula right here. I copied out of Edmondson's Witchcraft and its Byways.
What the hell are you talking about?
Pluck up your heart, Mr. Economy, all is not lost.
I feel much like fucking things, sir.
Alex. All right, well, here's what I'm going to do. Well, first, before I do anything, I need you to answer a question for me. Are you or are you not still anxious about dematerializing your first wife?
Of course, I'm absolutely furious with her, but you see...
But what?
Well, it's just that since the funeral and all, she's been having a rather bad time. See, my second wife has been harassing her night and day, and it's just, I feel very badly about the whole affair.
Oh my God. Well, your feeling of delicacy does do you credit, but you are a damn fool.
You are at liberty to think what you please.
No. Don't get on your high horse. I have discovered a formula here that I guarantee, well, not guarantee, but probably will make your first wife dematerialize. It requires nothing more than complete concentration from you and a minor trance from me. Might even not have to lay down.
Honestly, I would rather do...
Charles. What is he doing here?
What do you want?
I need to speak with you. Send him away.
What's going on? Master Arcati, please allow me to introduce you to my first wife, Elvira.
Oh, how do you do? Where is she?
She's standing over there by the table.
Oh, how do you do, sweetheart?
He's the one that got me here, isn't he? Tell him to get me back. I am sick of being here.
This is wonderful. I
Please
smell
stop.
ectoplasm. Smell ectoplasm.
That's disgusting.
Are you...
Master Arcati,
Where is she?
would you think it frightfully rude if I asked you to just wait in the dining room for about 5 minutes? My wife would like to speak to me alone.
I have to?
We would really rather prefer it.
Charles, just get rid of him.
Well, if you insist, hand me my bag, yeah? Aha! Aha! You little darling! You little darling!
Is he any good?
I don't know.
Do you really think you could get me back?
Now, darling, please.
Oh, don't call me Dolly. It's smug and supercilious.
There's no need to be rude.
Oh, Charles! I want to go home!
Crying.
Oh, they're just ghost tears. They don't mean anything. They're really painful.
You know, you can't expect much sympathy from me. I know your highest hope was to murder me.
Oh! Don't say it like that. It sounds beastly.
It is beastly. It's one of the beastliest things I've ever heard.
There was a time when you would have welcome to be with me forever and ever.
Yeah, that was before I had an idea you're so unscrupulous.
Charles, you are unworthy of my love. And to think, I loved you so. Even after I passed, I was on the other side and I longed for you day after day, even after you were trying to court that brassy woman in the south of France. You married Ruth, and I was understanding, and I forgave you. But now I see that I was a fool.
Oh. So you think she's ruined me, have you?
Ruth has ruined your books, even.
That is entirely untrue. She's helped me and encouraged me in my work, which is damn sight more than you ever did.
Probably what's wrong with it?
You know, all you ever cared about was having fun and partying.
I died young. Why wouldn't I want to have fun?
You needn't die alone if you weren't so idiotic out on the river with Guy Henderson and get soaked to the skin.
So now we're going to go back to Guy Henderson.
Behaved abominably with Guy Henderson.
It wasn't a punt. It was a launch.
When I said it was a punt, I don't give a damn if it was a three-masted schooner. You had no right to know.
I was desperate. You never wanted to spend any time with me.
You were feckless and irresponsible ever since we left Boldly Salterton.
Oh, how awful that you even mentioned Boldly Salterton.
And what's wrong with Boldly Salterton?
Only a monumental bore would think that honeymooning on a 7-day golf course would be anything like what I would want. I wanted romance.
It's a shame you didn't tell me at the time.
I did tell you. You didn't listen. That's why.
Why what?
I saw Captain Bracegirdle.
Captain Bracegirdle? You swore to me you saw your aunt in Axmouth.
It was the Moors
With Captain Bracegirdle.
with Captain Bracegirdle.
You have an affair with him.
Of course.
Ruth.
It was very discreet. He was in the cavalry, you know.
Okay, that's disgusting. How could you do such a... All I can say is I'm glad to be rid of you.
Well, you're not. I'm still here.
Well, I shall move away.
And I shall follow you.
I shall move far away. Go to South America. You'd hate that. You're such a bad traveler.
It can't be helped. I have to follow you. You called me back.
I did not call you back. Nothing was further from my mind.
Oh, no, you were talking about me that night with Ruth.
Might as well we can talk about Joan of Arc. That didn't mean I wanted to come and live with me.
Actually, she's rather fun.
Stick to the point.
Charles?
Stop sniveling.
I'm not! I want to go home and I mean it! Call the old bastard back in here. Have him get me back.
Master Arcati, would you please be kind enough to come back in? Oh, okay.
No. Is the darling still here?
Yes.
Oh, where? Tell me where.
She's over there by the couch.
Oh, she just blew in my face.
At least one of us is getting blown.
Can you stop him fawning all over me, Charles?
Master Arcati, my wife and I have discussed, and we both agree it would be best if she were to return home immediately.
Home?
Oh, yes, or wherever she came from.
Well, you don't think you'd like to stay just a few days
Oh,
longer?
God, no! I want to go home!
I could come stay with her, I'll bring my crystal.
We
God forbid.
We both think it would be really best just for as soon as possible for her to leave.
All right. If you insist.
I most emphatically do insist.
All right. Well, I do have a formula here, as I told you earlier.
Oh, yes, what is it?
In due time. First, over here. Grab me some pepper and salt.
Right.
Excuse me. Grab a frog or two as well.
A frog?
It's vital for the formula.
Do you think we're in France? We don't have frogs here.
Well, I need it.
Well, you should have thought of that when you came. You had the bloody formula with you.
I didn't want to send her back.
Charles, I want to go home!
Oh! This table's bumping around.
Damn
Right.
psychic.
Just
Why are you
just
shocked at that?
Settle down, Elvira, all right? Now, place the pepper and salt on the table. I think I'm done. No, sprinkle the pepper and salt, please.
He's a complete fake, Charles. Why are we even bothering?
Anything's worth trying at this point.
I agree with you, but I'd wager 10 to 1 this is going to fail.
Yeah, empty it out. Sprinkle it all. Keep sprinkling. There you go. Yeah, keep them on. Sprinkle that. Yeah, what are you doing?
It's my hook.
There you go. Now, a few snapdragons out of that face. Where's the frog?
I haven't got a frog. Will it work without a frog? If we use two
All right,
snapdragons...
fine. I'll try to do it without the frog. Put that snapdragon there. All right. Sit down.
I'm not sure I like being all about my own house.
Put your hands on the table. Get your hand out of the pepper. What you did. All right. Now, in due time, let's start the music. First, though, this is vital. I pick some of this up. Make a circle, a triangle, and a dot. There we go. Now, if your wife would be kind enough to please sit down on the couch for me. Oh, how about that? Don't start it yet, please. Now, your wife would be kind enough to sit down on the couch.
Why should I, Charles?
Elvira, just do what he says.
Is she laying on the couch yet?
What do you want her to sit or to lay on it?
All right. Now, Elvira, please place your hands to the side. Extend your legs and breathe steadily. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. Is she comfortable?
No.
She's extremely comfortable.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. I'll now start the gramophone and we'll begin this process.
If I giggle, don't be upset with me, Charles.
All right. Start to read this trance. Be serious. All right. Ghostly spectre, ghoul fiend, nevermore be thou convened. Shepherd's wort and holy right, banish thee into the night.
What a disagreeable little verse.
Ooh. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Is there anybody there? Aha! Is that you, Daphne? Okay, excellent. Sorry to bother you, but appears Mrs. Condamine would like to go. Can you help us? Daphne, stop it! Daphne! Daphne, stop! All right. Now, is your cold better? Okay.
Can we please get on with it?
Oh, Daphne! Daphne, what are are you doing? Daphne! Daphne! No!
Are you all right, Master Arcati?
He's in another trance, and I'm still very much here.
I can see that. Wake up, Master Arcati, please. We have work to do.
Oh, leave him be. He's having a whale of a time.
Yeah, I am too.
What happened?
Nothing. You fell over.
Well, I know something happened. I sensed it in my vibrations. Well, is she still here?
Yes.
Oh, something must have gone wrong.
Really.
All right. Well,
Perhaps we used too much pepper.
Make him do it proper, Charles.
all right. So you say she's still here?
Yes. Should I go find a pond somewhere and dig up a frog?
That was probably the reason why it didn't work. But I will say though, something did happen tonight. It shivered right through me.
Once and for all, Charles, what the hell does this mean? Well, we've done all we can, and I must say I couldn't be more exhausted.
Nearly daylight now.
The clock's always irritated me. It strikes far too slowly.
It was a gift from Uncle Walter.
Who's Uncle Walter?
Elvira's.
Well, all I can say is you could have chosen something a little more decorative.
Oh, Ruth, if that truly were all you could say, it would be a great comfort to us all.
You can be as rude as you like, Elvira. I don't mind a bit. As a matter of fact, I should be extremely surprised if you weren't.
Why?
The answer to that is really all too obvious.
God, I wish you two would stop bickering for 1 minute.
Charles, this is quite easily the most frustrating evening I have ever spent.
That sounds my fault.
The answer to that is all too obvious as well.
Now look here, Elvira. If we're going to have to stay together in this house indefinitely, and it looks unpleasantly likely, we're going to have to come up with some sort of an arrangement.
What sort of an arrangement?
You two are not staying in this house.
With you, then. We shall have to stay with you.
Let's see what. Why don't you two go get it covered somewhere?
You called us back, Charles.
I've explained till I'm black in the face. I've done no such thing.
Master Arcati said you did.
Master Arcati's a mumbling old fool.
Well, I could have told you that in the first place.
I think you're behaving very shabbily, Charles.
I failed to see what I've done to deserve all this.
We've allowed ourselves to be subjected to the most horrifying hocus-pocus for hours without complaining.
What's complaining?
We stood up, we sat down, we've sat there while he's recited extremely unflattering verses at us. We've endured 5 seances, and at the end of it, we're still here as much as we ever were.
Look, I'm just as exhausted as you. I mean, I'm the only one here. I remember, I've had to do all the damn table tapping.
Be that as it may, Charles, the least you could do was admit failure and think of another plan. Now we're neither fish nor flesh nor fowl nor whatever it is.
Good, Red Harry?
No, it can't be.
Well, why don't you just go back on your own?
We can't. You know perfectly well we can't.
Surely there's someone on the other side who could advise you.
How would I know? I've only been there a day or two.
Oh, don't look at me. I told you. Oh, I have no idea how to get back. The impetus has to come from this side. Obviously, you don't want us to go back badly enough.
I most certainly do.
Well, you have a weak will. I always suspected.
Well, in that case, I failed to see why you were both so anxious to return to me.
You called us back.
I did not call you back!
That is very ungracious, Charles. We have slaved for you. We were doing everything for you, hand and foot, weren't we?
We certainly did.
We have a bloody servant and a cook!
There's no use arguing about this anymore, Charles. Wake up, Master Arcati.
Please, let's not do another seance.
Wake up, Master Arcati!
Shake him.
Well, it upset him last time.
I don't care if it kills him.
Please wake up, Master Arcati!
time is it?
It's 10 after 5.
What time did I go off?
About an hour ago.
Very curious. Are they still here?
Yes.
Well, all right, I have an idea.
If he
I'm all
says
ears.
seance, I shall scream.
All right, my idea is a seance.
Charles!
Master Arcati, don't you think we've had quite enough seances? After all, they haven't really accomplished much, have they?
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, you know?
I know it wasn't, but still.
This schoolboy phraseology is driving me mad.
All right, I think I'm gonna do this seance. If I try hard enough, I'll be able to.
Master Arcati, please, if we could just discuss the situation a little.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I love discussions. Fire away.
All right. So my wives seem most certain that I, in somehow or another, subconsciously, do what you will, I called them back.
Okay, that's a very natural thing to think.
I, however, think I did not.
Well, you know what they say, love is a very strong psychic force.
Yes, I'm sure it is. And while I have the utmost respect and adoration for my late wives, I have to say that it does not fall under the caliber of which you describe.
I should just say so, indeed.
Well, you may not know your own strength.
Surely there's something we can do. I mean,
Okay. I think there is. A thought did come to me, okay? Who was here the other night when we did the first seance?
it was you, me, Dr. and Mrs. Bradman,
Aha, okay.
and Ruth.
Okay, I got it. The Bradmans weren't here the other night, though, last night, right?
No.
So it was you, me, Ruth.
Yes, we were all here.
Okay.
You said you got it.
Yes, yes. You know what? I've been barking up the wrong tree the whole time.
What are you talking about?
It's the Sudbury case all over again.
What on earth's the Sudbury case?
Oh, you don't need to worry about that. It was long before your time.
Why do you bring it up?
Well, all right, fine. It did make me famous, so I'll explain it to you in great detail. So, what happened was, about 8 years ago, I went to London. Flew there, actually.
Well, to get to the point, I don't want to hear about your bloody vacation.
Okay. So I went to the chapel. Underneath the chapel, there was some sort of party.
Get on with it! Can you help? Will this work?
I don't know.
Perhaps he should use the crystal, Charles.
Well, you brought out this piece of shit. Why don't you use it?
Give it to me. Give it to me. Aha! Thank you. Damn this thing, it's so cloudy.
I've given you the pip.
Yes. Looks like the Sudbury case again. You know, the Sudbury case made me famous. Really put me on the map. It was my first smash hit.
This is pointless, Charles.
You know how it happened? It was an absolute fluke.
A fluke?
Yeah, coincidence. Aha! A white bandage! A white bandage is what I see in here. Hold on to a white bandage!
I've got a white bandage.
All right. Well, guess there's nothing to do.
Does he have another stupid verse?
Do you have another stupid verse? You'd think you'd have these memorized by now, sir.
Be you in the cook, Fanny, answer me. Be you in still room or closet, answer me. Be you behind the panel, above the stairs, beneath the eaves, waking or sleeping, answer me! Well, that should do it.
Oh, if it's another ghost, I shall scream.
I hope it's nobody we know. I shall feel so silly.
Did you ring, sir?
The bandage! The white bandage!
No, Edith, I didn't.
Come here!
I could have sworn I heard a bell or somebody calling.
Come here! Now, child,
Oh dear.
what do you see in this room?
Oh dear.
Yeah, obviously. Who else do you see?
Well, the master.
Who else?
Oh, no, nobody.
Answer my question. Who else do you see in this room?
Keep still, Elvira.
Oh, they're by the fireplace.
Who's by the fireplace?
Oh, dear.
You mean you can see them?
I haven't
I
done
think
nothing
she
wrong.
can see them.
Oh,
Not very clearly, but I think so.
I just want to go back to bed. Let me go back to bed.
All right, eat these sandwiches first.
I don't want a sandwich. I want to go back to bed. Let me go.
Eat a sandwich. Are you seriously saying no to a sandwich right now?
Oh, please, sir.
You're saying no to a sandwich, a delicious sandwich.
Please, sir, let me go.
All right, fine. Here's what I'm gonna do.
Good heavens, is he balmy? Should be in a circus.
Eat it. Look at my finger, okay? Have you ever seen such a finger this magnitude?
No.
Very good. All right. Back and forth. Back and forth. Back and forth. Tick, tock, tick, tock.
The mouse ran up the clock.
You will ruin everything.
Well, she's off, all right.
Off?
Yeah, it's just like the Sudbury case. You never let me finish talking to her. It is an astonishing coincidence that I'm not the same. Now, are you apologetic for being so mischievous of you?
Oh, yes, master.
So you know what to do.
Oh, yes, master.
Then do it.
She's been the cause of all this
All right,
unpleasant.
I'll turn off the lights.
Week's notice
You
tomorrow.
may not be here tomorrow.
I think he's going to work. I feel rather peculiar.
Have him stop for just one moment, Charles. I have something to say.
It's too late for
I
that.
think this is goodbye, Charles.
Thank God.
Oh, Charles, you remember Captain Brayscannell? I saw him several times. Twice we went to the 400 when you were in Nottingham. It was pleasant and lovely, and I enjoyed it so much.
Don't think you're getting rid of us so easily, Charles. You may not be able to see us, but we'll be here all right.
Stop singing. Thank you. Are they still here?
No, I think they might have actually gone.
Oh, we've really done it this time. Yay!
Good heavens, where am I? Is it me concussion? Did I drop off again?
Edith, it's quite all right. I rang, you came down, it was wonderful. You did everything you asked. It was perfect.
I don't understand. I don't understand how we got down here.
Here, please. Thank you very much, Edith.
Oh, so whatever. Oh, stop!
Oh, what on earth was that about?
Well, what a night. I'm pretty done. Drop right in my throat.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to stay in the guest room or anything?
No, each to his own nest, as I always say.
Well, you must have lunch with me one day soon, I'm sure, right?
You're implying. I mean,
Well, I'm single now.
all right, I'll go out to lunch with you. But it's not going to be till after you come back, all right?
Come back.
Yes. Must go immediately.
Do you mean they may still be here?
There's no doubt very bad memories here. And for you, and I think you should go.
I wonder if I should take your advice, Master Arcati.
Yeah, well, there are more things in heaven and earth than dreamt up in your philosophy, that's all I have to say. Well, I better be on my way. I'll pedal home in a jiffy, it's only like 10 miles, so. Do you mind if I take a sandwich from the road?
Oh, by all means.
Thank you. You can keep my crystal, it's utterly useless. So. Well, I say to you one last time, goodbye.
Oh, thank you. Ruth? Elvira? Ruth, Elvira, I know you're there. Well, all I have to say to you is that I am going to sell this house. Lock, stock, and barrel. I'm going to move away. Far, far away. Despite what Elvira said, I don't think spears can travel over water. No. And Ruth, you said in more of your acid moments that I've been hag-rid my whole life, and how right you were. And now... I knew it! But now you're dead, Elvira's dead, my mother's dead, and I've never been happier. I shall go away and enjoy myself like never before. That's it, Ruth. Persevere. See if Elvira can help you. But please wish me fond farewells. I bid you adieu. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Things you plan.